Hello everyone, we are in a Toyota Corolla LE, and a little bit of a difference. I'm taking a step at all the new, brand new, kind of like higher end vehicles. A lot of people always are asking what's going on in the lower kind of economy car segment, especially with vehicles getting so expensive these days. What are the good, inexpensive vehicles on the market? Now, one of the long-standing ones that a lot of people always end up going for, they're looking for kind of an affordable family sedan, not too big, not too small, is the Toyota Corolla. And that will usually associate with Toyota's dependability, reliability, and not the highest cost. This Toyota Corolla LE we are in right now is only around $20,000 starting price. With a few options on it, you can definitely get these under $25,000, and they will last you a long time as well. So let's check out what you're getting with the Toyota Corolla LE. Now, in the Toyota Corolla lineup, this is kind of like the second to lowest grade you can get. Sorry for the wind out here today, guys. Yeah, and this is a white one. Under the hood, we have a 4-cylinder engine paired to a CVT, around 140 horsepower, not too powerful. Of course, there is the Corolla hatchback, as you can get as well, if you want a little bit more space and storage. And you can get higher trims of the Corolla with even a manual gearbox as well as on offer. And again, this one's in white, nothing too special. You do get the 16-inch steel wheels with kind of hubcaps on this one. Yeah, this is a Corolla. I'm sure everyone sees these around all the time. Nothing too special going on here. Hopping into the back seats. Plenty of leg room. The seat is pretty far back actually right now, but you can comfortably kind of sit 3 people back here. This is a better kind of representation of like regular leg room in the Corolla. Lots of space, pretty comfortable. My head does have enough room as well. The seats aren't too uncomfortable either, which is nice. And the whole seats in this one are kind of like this fabric material, so it's nothing too fancy. The seats do fold down if you want to get into the trunk. These guys can show you there. Lots of space back there. Of course, the trunk's back there. And these do fold completely flat down as well, and have you this giant trunk space, which is really awesome. If you do need to kind of like increase that kind of storage, which is really cool as well. In the center console here, we do have an armrest with cup holders, is nice. But again, nothing too premium. No air vents back here. No heated seats or anything or even no power outlets as well. Just a little cubby spot right there. You do get a little bit of a storage compartment right here on the back side, just on the passenger side, not on the driver's side. So very kind of sparse, the materials, durable but cheap. That's kind of like the way you're getting in this kind of segment. So nothing too crazy on that end. Let's hop out. Go back around to the front. Sorry guys again for the wind today. I think the key is pretty cool with Toyota. They kind of finally changed their key up. It's kind of like the old Volkswagen style key where it pops out, lock, unlock, and then hold to open the trunk. And then again, opening the trunk, it does release it, but it does not power. Your gooseneck style here. Again, all that space, and remember the seats do fold down back there, which is really cool. Underneath here, we do not have a spare tire in this one, but I believe one is available. But yeah, pretty basic stuff you're getting in this Corolla. That's what you're getting for around $20,000. Let's hop inside now. So normally, of course, there's no keyless access on these vehicles, so you do have to use the key. So you can, normally unlock the car, lock the car, simple stuff like that. And as it isn't keyless access, that means you don't have push button start. You have to use the key to start it. So, back in the old days, pop open your key fob and then pop it into the ignition switch and turn it on. Hear that 4-cylinder come to life over there. So like I said before, this is a CVT gearbox, or I guess lack of gearbox, a CVT transmission, paired to that 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine up there, and it is pretty efficient as it goes by Toyota. This one is averaging right now around 30 miles per gallon, but I think the EPA ratings are even higher than that, up to around like 38 miles a gallon. I don't know if you're really going to be able to get that, but 30 miles a gallon is pretty good in a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, and Toyota is known for their efficiency in their engines. There is a Corolla hybrid on offer if you want even more efficiency. And of course, these days you can go for a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle or a full EV, which Toyota does offer all of those options as well. So if you want something more efficient, even more efficient than this. That's great. But even as an entry-level kind of like economy car, this is really good if you really want to be conscious on gas. Of course, it is front-wheel drive only as well. Now, this new kind of Toyota Corolla interior has been around for a few years now, so nothing too shocking in here. But you do have a decent amount of features for around a $20,000 base starting price vehicle. Right over here in your little infotainment system area, this is about an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. I believe it has Amazon Alexa capability as well, so that's really nice to have. The screen is not the best resolution at all. It's a little slow to touch as well. This one doesn't even have navigation, which you install through an app, but you can probably just turn on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which would be a lot easier to use. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. You can kind of see your MPG. Best MPG 35.7. See, it is achievable to get a pretty good MPGs in these cars. But yeah, it is a nice thing to have just Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Just throw those on, and that's nice. Right here, you have your kind of separate climate controls. You do have automatic climate control, which is nice. And I do actually like how this is pretty laid out. Really easy to use and simple to see. Not buried in the infotainment system like a lot of manufacturers are doing these days. You have your climate vents right here. Of course, climate vents on these sides. And everything is pretty durable. It just feels durable in here. Nothing premium. Low-end materials. You know, it is a lower end vehicle, but just durable stuff. And the fit and finish is actually pretty solid. Everything's really solid. The dash, there's no really creaks and rattles. The plastics feel really solid in place. Even the center console is pretty solid. So I think Toyota did a pretty good job on that standpoint. In your center console, you do have another USB port, kind of like the cigarette lighter port over there for more charging. And this kind of centerpiece does stretch out to give you a better armrest, which is nice. It is kind of like this cloth material. It is really hard to touch though, so if that is a concern, I don't know, try to find another vehicle in this class. But if you want something on the really affordable end, this is pretty much what you're going to get in this segment. Quality in here is probably going to be a little bit better than maybe a Hyundai Elantra if you want to compare it to something. Even the plastics in the door, they're not the best, but they're also not the cheapest. I have felt cheaper. You have padded door kind of armrests right here on the door panels. Power windows on all 4 doors as well. Of course, your power for your mirrors. And this one actually does have a few safety features in Toyota's kind of like safety sense department. So I believe we have lane departure assist or lane departure warning right here. This one says active steering assist. I believe this one is kind of like front emergency braking up here. So there's some basic features for safety systems, and these can always increase as you kind of pay more money and get up the grades of the vehicles. Over here, again, pretty simple stuff. You have your speedo, tachometer, and temperature gauge, which is nice to see. A lot of vehicles don't even include a temperature gauge anymore. Fuel gauge, and then you have a little bit of a side multi-function display over there, which is pretty nice. So that's a cool little thing to have. Of course, you have the radio system, and you can change the modes over here. So this is interesting to see your speedometer right there. You guys can see that speedometer, distance to empty, some economy stuff, a few other things right there. So there's nothing too crazy, but it is nice to have a little bit of a configurable display that's not super basic, so that's nice to have as well. In the center console, pretty sparse. 2 cup holders. You have auto brake hold if you want to have that, parking brake, gear selector, traction control, and that's pretty much it. A little bit of storage cubby over there. There's one USB port over here if you want to kind of plug in your phone there for Apple CarPlay or something like that. But let's take this thing on a little bit of a drive and see how it does just in day-to-day conditions, because it's actually not that bad of a driver either, even for this entry-level segment. It's popping into drive. Really smooth over here, and it does have a backup camera, as all vehicles in the United States are kind of required to have now, so that's also becoming sort of like an industry standard. So if I just pop it into reverse, you see you have a backup camera right here. No trajectory when you turn the steering wheel, but it will warn you, I believe, if you get too close to an object. So nothing too fancy there. Always nice to have a backup camera, and it is pretty clear as well. Visibility out of the Corolla also isn't bad. I do find the dashboard to be a little high, so I can't really see where the hood is. I do sit a little bit low personally, as I'm a bit taller, but if you do want to pump the seat up, you do have a decent amount of headroom to kind of get a better view over the vehicle. I do like though, how you kind of feel like you're sitting in the vehicle a little bit more than on top of the vehicle. I'm used to a lot of Subaru vehicles, and I don't know why, no matter how low you can get in them, you always feel like you're sitting on top of them. And I guess that's just a preference for me, because I like to feel lower. But if you do like that on those Subaru vehicles, you do get actually a lot of better visibility in there. So if there's one preference there, I would maybe look at an Impreza if you want something like that. And they'll also get you all-wheel drive if you want all-wheel drive as well. Coming over this little rough patch of cobblestone right here, and it is really tiny, but there are a lot of bumps. We'll just see how it does. Pretty solid. It's surprisingly quiet in here, actually. I was a little bit shocked to see that. I think Toyota's global platform they have done, or TNGA they call it, is pretty refined in, I guess, the chassis structural rigidity and suspension tuning. They've been doing pretty good on that, actually. Awesome. And like I said before, this has a 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine, of course, right? So it's nothing too powerful, nothing too crazy, but I think it gets the job done. Of course, it's paired to the CVT. It's like 140 horsepower, right? So you'll be okay on like passing speeds on the highway and stuff, but you're not going to be, racing anyone. But this car is tuned, of course, for fuel economy and not, going all crazy. Now, it doesn't give you any sort of manual control over, I guess, like the pre-selected gears of the CVT or the pre-selected ratios of the CVT, which I don't think is necessary in a Corolla, at least at this price point. You're really just going to be using it as an efficient vehicle. You do have a B mode. Now, I probably should have done my homework and figured out what that actually means, but I'm pretty sure it's just an extra efficiency mode, or kind of like a low range mode to kind of give you a better efficiency through the CVT. Now let's just get up to highway speeds. It is a little loud on the highways. There's a little bit more wind noise coming from this the side mirror area a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Regardless, the suspension's actually very smooth on the highway. I do like that, going over these bumps and kind of like the expansion joints on the highway. It is pretty smooth, and I think it's pretty controlled, so you don't really feel those bumps too much on the interior. I do like how you have this kind of like speed sign recognition as well. That's kind of thrown in once you have those little cameras up there, which is cool. And here, a little bit of an acceleration test. Yeah, it's definitely lethargic. It's not a performer, but as you can see, we're just cruising on the highway, not too bad. And also on the highway is really going to be where you're going to see those higher efficiency numbers come into play and really benefit you. And especially during these times right now where gas prices are super high. That may or may not change in the future, we'll see. But this is going to be great on gas, or a little bit easier on your wallet than some other vehicles, if you're looking for something like this in the market right now. Pretty comfortable stuff. And like I said before, you can easily fit 5 people in here if you need to squeeze them in, which is another great thing if you have a small family. And of course, there always is the Corolla hatchback on offer if you do want to kind of stuff more people or more stuff in the back end. A little bit of a quick braking test from around 40. Pretty good responsive brake feel. A lot of these modern cars are having these weird like brake-by-wire systems, and I've been finding them to be a little bit annoying on how they work. This feels pretty natural in its braking feel. So as you can see there, if you do floor it a little bit, the CVT does kind of like to simulate gears a little bit when you do really press on it a little bit hard. So when you get it up in the higher rev range and it kind of knows that you're going to be wanting to accelerate more, it'll kind of simulate having an actual gear there to kind of like help you accelerate up the speed. Not too bad on the acceleration, of course, but of course nothing too peppy. So I just turned on the lane steering assist, I believe the function's called. Let's see if that actually works well or not. Just move over to this lane. So it does warn you if you do kind of exit out of a lane by giving you a beep. Some of the other systems are a little bit more intrusive, as where they'll kind of like bump the steering wheel into another lane or back into your lane. I don't know how I feel about that too much. I usually end up turning that off. It's a little bit of an annoying thing sometimes when lanes on highways are kind of all messy from construction. It'll go crazy. Just turn it off in those situations. But I think that personally, everyone should be a good driver in the first place and not need these safety systems. But some of them are really, really beneficial. Like this one doesn't have blind spot monitoring, which I think is one of the best things on the planet, especially with Hyundai, Kia, and Do, where you can option for their blind spot monitoring, which has a little camera in the center display. I believe Honda also offers this as well. When you put the blinker on, it kind of gives you an extra view to kind of give you a better idea of what's happening in your blind spots. I do think that's a really, really great feature, as well as auto emergency braking are other great features as well. But some of them are getting a little bit too crazy. I just think the lane change assist is a little bit intrusive on some vehicles, even if it is just a warning sometimes. But nonetheless, it is great to see these features being implemented into lower end kind of economy cars for the masses, instead of having to pay a lot of money to kind of get into like some of these better safety features. As I think that you shouldn't have to pay to get safety features. You're buying a vehicle, safety should be a standard thing, at least some basic and kind of essential safety features in that sense. But nonetheless, I did kind of want to give you guys a quick little tour of this Toyota Corolla and trying to change it up a little bit on the channel to kind of give you a better idea of like what the lower end kind of economy car markets can get you into something like this. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for a lot more content coming soon from Allcarnews, and always make sure to follow and subscribe us on all of our social channels. Thanks again. I hope to see you soon.